We left off here on number 5. A says to review the HPIR and circle items of interest. We've done that. We circled the items of interest, so now we're looking back at this checklist. Item B here says locate the case number, write it very large at the top of the sign-in sheet. We've shown you where you can find the case number, and we're going to show you what a sign-in sheet looks like later on. But then next you sign in, you install the blue lockbox, you trace the key. E, you install the black lockbox, and now we move to F. F says that we, using the date stamp function, take a complete set of interior and exterior photos from the main photo checklist. Okay, so this tips me off that we need to leave this form and we need to go find the main photo checklist, and then we need to take a complete set of interior and exterior photos using the date stamp function. So they're going to be date stamp photos. Let's go find that checklist and we will pick up from there. I'm going to go over every page of the photo checklist as an overview. Then as I go through the checklist line by line, I'm not going to display this checklist anymore. Instead, I'm just going to show you the actual examples of photos that we expect. And so it'll be very helpful for you to go ahead and print this form off so you can follow along as we go through the photos. Here at the top of page 1, you'll see where we have a blank for the property address. You'll want to write that in. Then read the instructions, the guidelines very clearly. Next, as you continue down the checklist, you'll see the exterior photo list. We use the same exact list for date stamped and non-date stamped photos. We have 2 columns of boxes for you to check so that you can check off boxes when you're doing date stamped and checked off boxes when you're doing no date stamp. So as you continue down the page, we have all the specific items that we need pictures of. On the next page, it's more of the same until you get to the interior photo list. And again, these are used for date stamp and non-date stamp photos. Continue down the page, it's just more itemized lists of exactly what we need photos of. Continue down, it's again more of the same. And as we get to the bottom of the list, you'll see an area for you to sign and date. After you write the address on the top of the form, you'll see that the first guideline is that all photos must be horizontal. And this is regardless of the shape of the object that you're trying to photograph. On the top left-hand corner here, you'll see that the camera is being held horizontally, and that produces a horizontal photo. On the bottom, camera held vertically produces a vertical photo. Again, no matter what the circumstances are, all photos must be horizontal. No humans or pets are allowed in any of the photos except for yourself and an unintended reflection. Also, no obstructions, no vehicles in front of the properties that we're photographing. I want to explain what a date stamp photo is, just in case you're wondering. On the left there, that is a non-date stamp photo. On the right is a date stamp photo. It simply means that there's a date stamped on the photo. The most important photo that you'll be taking at the property is the front of the property without the date stamp function. The reason is because we're going to use this particular photo for the majority of our marketing. So on the top left, you'll see a house that is, that photo is just not real good because it gets the houses on either side of the house into the frame. The next one does the exact opposite. You can't see the entire house in the frame. And the bottom one there, it's almost a perfect photo of the front of the house because you can see both sides of the house, not much extra, and it's just well positioned inside the camera. The lighting's good, it's not blurry, so that's a good photo for the front of the house. The only thing we know about these properties is what you show us and tell us. So we need to get a great idea of every aspect of the house through the photos that you're taking. Remember, when you're taking photos of damages or issues, to make sure the person looking at the photos who's never been to the house before knows what room it's in. You should be taking a wide view to accomplish this, as well as a close-up view of the issue so that we can clearly see the actual issue. And beware of blurry photos. We need to be able to read the sign-in sheet when you take a photo of it. We need to be able to clearly see the issue or the marketing point that you're taking a photo of. And if you have a tendency of taking blurry photos, try to take at least 2 pictures of the same thing. It never hurts. How many photos is too many photos? Well, we don't have an exact number, but we've found that if people are taking less than 100 to 125 photos, it generally means that we're not getting enough photos. So if you get up to 750, 1,000, that's probably too many, and it'll take forever for them all to upload. So you should just generally keep in mind that as you're walking through this house, your finger is on the trigger and you're just taking as many photos as you can so that we can get a good idea. So you don't have to go back out to the property without receiving additional compensation because you didn't take a photo that we needed, that you were probably asked to take to begin with. I feel like I should go over this one more time. So how many photos is too many photos? It's really hard to take too many photos. It's better to take too many photos than not enough. These photos, they need to clearly display every amenity in the property. Please take enough photos so that someone else could look at these photos and complete an MLS listing thoroughly. I've got a tip. Take way too many photos. This checklist is for date stamp and non-date stamp photos. Please refer to the assignment checklist to determine if you should take date stamp or non-date stamp photos or both. If you can't determine what you should do, just take both to be on the safe side. And if you have any question that you can't resolve just by using redundancy or common sense, then call us for clarification. 817-200-7987. As you're driving through the neighborhood to get to the house, keep an eye out for items like these that may indicate there's a homeowners association, like a neighborhood swimming pool, a community park, and keep an eye out for signs like this that show the name of the subdivision, and sometimes they even have some contact info, and we're going to need photos of all that stuff. For the street scene photo, take a photo looking directly down the street one way, turn around and take a photo looking directly down the street the other way, and then take a photo of what is directly across from the subject property. Earlier I showed you examples of how to take bad photos of the front of the house and exactly what we're expecting. Here's just a great ensemble of all the photos that we need to take of the front. So at the top left is the straight on photo. Then we walk to one side, take a 45-degree angle, walk to the other side, take another 45-degree angle, and then you can see these 8 photos on the right here, all the other angles that we take of the front of the house. If we get this many photos of the front of the property, I guarantee there's not any chance that you're going to have to go back and take additional photos of the front of the house. Here are some acceptable address verification photos. You can find the address on the curb, next to the front door, on the garage, on the mailbox, and we just need to see a clear photo of the street address numbers. You may have noticed on other foreclosures or REO properties that you'll see papers in the window. And so we have papers, should be papers in the window of every property you go to, and every time you visit a property, we need a photo of those papers. We need you to install the black lockbox as our backup lockbox on the property. Put it on the back door if you can. If you can't, then we ask for you to put it near the electric meter. And here are a couple examples of things you definitely don't want to do with your lockbox. One picture on the far left is a lockbox that was secured to the garage, and that actually prevented us from being able to open the garage. There's one where it's actually on the electric meter in such a way that it secures prevents the electric meter from being opened, and we got a call from the electric company on that one. And then the other one is on the AC line, and it's just not a good idea to put any weight on those lines in case something were to happen. We'd hate to have to be responsible for that. We need photos of both sides of the house, of the actual house, not just the yard. We need a photo of the back of the house, showing the entire back of the house if possible. And photos standing in the back of the backyard so that we can see the entire yard and see the back of the house from different angles. We need a photo of the outdoor AC unit, and then anything that's unique about the property, like porches, patio covers, storage sheds, that sort of thing. If it's got a covered patio, that's an amenity. We want to see every angle of it if we can. We need a photo showing whether the house has gutters or not. We need to see whether the house has a chimney or not, and satellite dishes. We need photos of all the meters in place at the property. The top left, you'll see the electric meter. Bottom left is a water meter. Bottom right is a gas meter. And top right is where a gas meter used to be before somebody removed it. There's no way I can go over all of the potential damage or condition issues that you'll find at a house, but typically, if you just see something that doesn't look quite right, it's a good idea to go ahead and take a photo of it. Top left, you'll see some water stains. Below that is a electrical receptacle hanging out of the wall and some exposed wires. Below that is some missing flooring, and somebody has prettied up that nice subfloor there for us. Top center is a little electrical outlet that's sticking out of the ground that could be considered a trip hazard. The center is some buckled flooring there. Below that is an area I'm not quite sure what it is. I see a hole in the wall, maybe some smoke damage, maybe it's just some tar or some paint, I'm not sure. And then the electrical plug there is missing an outlet. Top right, missing cabinets. Under that is some overgrown grass. Below that looks like maybe some mold issues, some messed up exterior siding, and below that is a missing toilet. The words marketing photos don't really encompass everything that we need in regards to this specific type of photo. And this is an area where we fully depend on your eyes and ears at the property. And let's just go over some of these and it'll spark some ideas. Again, there's no way I can cover every scenario that you might find marketing related at a property. And maybe I would call this environment related instead of marketing related. I'm not sure. The top left, you'll see some large electrical lines. Those are definitely something that we want to take a photo of and mention. Below that is a electrical transformer. We've seen that across the street from a house, and if you just took photos of the house itself, we would have never known it was there. Below that, you'll see a train that goes right behind a back fence, and a lot of times they'll do this where you can't see that there's actual railroad tracks behind the fence because the fence is so tall until the train passes by, but that's just something to be aware of. Top center, that property looks like it backs up to some sort of playground or park. That could be a positive thing, could be a negative thing. I'm not quite sure. One way or the other, it's unique to the property and the location, so we want to take a photo of that and point it out. Below that is a golf course. Properties can be neighboring all sorts of things that either detract or, in this case, add to value, so we would want to know that. Below that is a property that is adjacent to a very busy street. If the property has radio towers nearby, even if it's on the same block, it's something that you want to take a photo of. If there's a stream or river running near the house, that's a positive that we want to notate. Now, here's something interesting. If you look at the photo right below the stream there, it just looks like a regular street corner. Off to the right, you see a very long iron fence. Well, on the other side of that fence, there's a huge rock quarry. And right below it, I stole a little image from Google Images here. You can see the rock quarry. It's massive, and the only way you'd know it was there is by driving by the property. So that's something that we definitely want to be aware of and take a photo of, or at least mention it on one of our reports, so that we can take it into account whenever we're coming up with a valuation for the property, because that is definitely a significant environmental marketing type factor that's going to play a role in how we market the property, how we value it, and a buyer's definitely going to want to know about that. So those are just a few examples, but be on the lookout. This is something that you've just got to be thinking about. If you see something odd, just take a picture of it and report it, and we'll send that in with our report. We need photos of any unique items, and the possibilities are endless here. If you see a storage shed on site, we need photos of the outside, the inside, the roof, the floor, everything about it. We need a photo of the lock securing the shed. In this case, there's not a lock, so we just show that the door was open when we got there. We need good photos of any crawl spaces. And we need a photo inside the crawl space, as you can see on the top left. And then we want a picture of the access door so we can see if it's locked, see if there are any obstructions. If you see gates that should be locked and aren't locked, or if they should be locked and they are locked, either way, we need photos of them. Here's a good example of the sign-in sheet. Remember earlier we said you need to write with black marker at the top of the sign-in sheet. You need to write the case number, and then you sign in right here. The correct way to sign in is you don't have to actually put your full first name and last name if you don't want to. If you want to, no problem. But then actually there was an error here. It says a representative of Matt Martin. That's actually incorrect. It needs to be reomaven.com. You got to spell that whole thing out there, put the date. Purpose of visit is an inspection, and then winterized, you can answer the questions. You can draw a line through all of those if you're not comfortable answering them. Either way, we've just got to have a record of the login. The lower right here is a horrible photo, and we had to send that person back out to redo that one. We need photos of your first impression as you enter the front door. It's a good idea to just open the front door and take some pictures before you walk through. Then take a picture right after you walk through, and then turn from left to right and take pictures of every angle. This is a great example of how to take photos of a room, just any room, bedroom, living room, any kind of room that you go into. First thing you do, point the camera down, take a picture of the flooring. Next, take a picture straight ahead. Next, you see the closet door. We went over there and took a photo of the inside of the closet. Next, we back up into one corner, take a picture. Walk across the room, take a picture from the other corner, and you just pan around and take pictures of the entire room as you go around. Here we saw some splotches on the wall, so we got some photos of those splotches. We see an alarm keypad, took a picture of that. There's a fixture, got a picture there. You can see every angle of the entire room has a picture of it. And then we even saw a bathroom. So we went in, took a picture of the floor, and then proceeded on into the bathroom to take photos. This is how you adequately photo a room. This shows the difference between a full bathroom and a half bathroom. As you can see, the full bathroom has a bathtub and a standalone shower. The half bathroom is just a toilet and a sink, and that's it. Whenever you take photos of the bathrooms, you need to take a photo underneath the sink. So get all the plumbing here, and as you can see here, you need to get a picture of the flooring if there's an issue with that. Underside of the sink if there's anything unique about that. This is an example of the difference between date stamped and non-date stamped photos whenever you're taking photos of bathrooms and kitchens. One thing that you need to do if you're taking a date stamped photo is open all of the cabinets. This is so we can clearly see if there's any debris or anything left behind in the house. With the cabinets open, again, that's with a date stamp. Without a date stamp, we want the photo to look as pretty as possible, so we close up all the cabinets, remove any kind of obstructions we can from the camera, and take the best picture that we can. Again, this is for bathrooms and kitchens. You do this. We're generally only going to see two different types of garages, attached and detached. In the top left, you'll see a detached garage. This just means that the garage structure is completely separate from the rest of the house. You can see there's space between the garage and the house. An attached garage is exactly what it says. It's a garage that is attached to the rest of the house. You don't have to walk outside to get to the garage. Whenever you're taking photos of the garage, make sure to get photos of the hot water heater. And the most important part of the hot water heater to photograph is the top part, so we can see what kind of power supply the hot water heater is utilizing. In this case, you can see that is clearly an electric hot water heater. Gas always have a huge silver tube going into the ceiling for exhaust. So this shows every angle of a garage and exactly how you need to photo it. Top left, you'll see the lock. That's an absolutely essential photo, and we capture every angle of the garage, including the trash cans, because we're not sure if those are supposed to be left behind or not. We just report that, and then you see the breaker box. This is a close-up look at another breaker box. These can be located in the garage or sometimes outside near the outdoor AC unit. We also need photos of all of the appliances. So in this particular kitchen, they had all of the appliances. They did not have a refrigerator, which that's the most common setup you'll find. So here you see the oven range area. You've got to open it up and take a photo of the inside as well as all angles, and that goes for all the appliances. If an appliance is missing, we need to get a photo of the little nook that the appliance was supposed to go into. We need photos of every single type of flooring there is. And the best way to show this is just to point your camera straight down. It's easiest to see at the seam where two different types of flooring meet. And if there's anything torn up about the flooring, we need a photo of that too. So here are just a handful of examples of all sorts of different types of flooring and what those photos look like. We need photos of the electric receptacles or electric sockets, plugs, whatever you call them. What we're looking for here is, first of all, any issues, and you can see both of these have an issue. This one needs a plate cover and the other one's missing a receptacle. But also we're looking for the number of holes in each little socket. We also need photos of the attic. Now use your best judgment here. We don't want anybody putting themselves in harm's way. If the attic is not easily accessible, just take plenty of good photos and provide an explanation as to why you weren't able to provide attic photos. Also, we don't want you walking around in the attic. If you can just pull the ladder down, step up, pop your head on the inside of the attic, snap a few photos, and then close it up and be done with it, that's great. We don't need anybody getting hurt going into an attic. If you get into the attic, what we need specifically is we need to see if there's any obstructions that would prevent somebody from getting to an HVAC unit. And if you can see the HVAC unit, we need a photo of that. Speaking of HVAC units, we need photos of those no matter where they're at. And we need photos of the top and the bottom. They rarely fit in the frame of one photo. Whenever you're taking a photo of the top, just make sure we get to see the power source, whether it's gas or electric. The tubes at the top are what indicate that. We need photos of all fixtures. Fixtures are ceiling fans, lights that are hanging above bathroom mirrors, that sort of thing. Just anything that is anything we need a picture of. We also need to tell by looking at your photos if the property's been winterized or not. We'll be able to tell this by looking at the toilet and the sinks and the papers on the window out front. Usually there's a sticker on the toilet that says winterized, or there'll be duct tape on it, or we'll be able to see this pretty liquid that's been poured in the toilet. That's a non-toxic form of antifreeze. The papers on the front of the house usually let us know if it's winterized or not. Okay, excellent. That concludes all of the photos that we need to take to complete the main photo checklist.